Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It is February 25th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and it was all downhill today. There was a bit of a rally right in here, and I didn't mark any longs. I just think it's too risky going long until we get this break and new low, and you can see quickly after we broke this trend line right here, we started lower. This is how I started the day. And it looked like we were going to have an overshoot right here, but when we just touched the trend line and took off again, you got to assume that this is lower. And later I thought it was here, and it tends to fit a little bit there as well. But then later, in the end, after the end of the day, I believe it's right here. And you can see more plays off that midline for most of the day. And I believe that to be it with an overshoot. Then we got the break and a move to a new low. So regardless of how you had it, you pretty much had to play this yellow channel and just wait for this correction, and then you got a few more chances coming down here. But really, as long as you played the blue and the yellow channel, that's all you really needed. So, but when you can find this bigger picture like this, it helps because it gives you the midline, it gives you a little more. I mean, if it gives you additional resistance, or if you're above it, additional support. But as you'll notice, I didn't mark any long. Even on these big moves, I didn't mark any longs. It's too dangerous trying to pick longs on a day like this. Just sit tight and wait. I mean, really, you had to kind of sit here. You got one or two, and there's probably, again, I'm gonna say this again today. There's just so many trades here, and there's so many possibilities. There's probably some other trades that I didn't mark that you might have liked, that you might have said, hey, because you might have just been concentrating on the price action at that period in time, and that might be when you could trade. And there might be something you would take that you like that I didn't mark, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't say, okay, I'd at least make that one green or whatever. But when there's so many trades like this, there's only so many I can talk about in a day, and so I'm just going to mark the best ones and the ones that are sure things, and the rest of them I'm probably just going to pass them over. Otherwise, there might be 50 or 60 trades on here, and half of them be green, and it's just too much to talk about and too much to concentrate on. So, again, if you saw something and it fits our criteria, if you want to send it to me or post it in the forum, I'll be happy to look at it. And for those of you that are fairly new, you can still join our forum on the website for $10 a month. Yeah, I charge for the forum, but that's to keep the tire kickers and the troublemakers away. So you got to have a little bit of skin in the game. But if you can't afford $10, then you probably can't afford to be a trader anyway. So I'm not trying to jab people with that $10 or make money off of it. It's just really to help keep the lights on, and to keep more than anything is to keep the troublemakers and tire kickers away. So most people are only going to pay the $10 if they really want to be there. So. If you want to come join, I don't know how long I'm going to do the $10 forum only, but it's still there as of now. And we've probably got 20 or 25 people that are taking advantage of that. And if you want to take advantage of that, feel free to. Um, but anyway, let's get to the trades. You can clearly see the two-tiered blue channel. This trend line was valid until we had the break here and moved to a new low. And then we just kind of rallied a little bit and then went sideways after that. But really strong downtrend day. These are the days you can catch a lot of runners and take a lot of little quick, easy scalps. These are the kind of days we like to see. It got a little, you had to be a little patient in here. It got a little tough in here. And again, you probably could have taken some of these longs, but it's just not worth it. As long as this blue channel's in play, I wouldn't take any longs. That's how I feel about it. I wouldn't recommend any longs because you're just going to get yourself trapped or whatever. And so really this lasted from 12 to about a little after 1 o'clock. So during the lunch hour, and that's probably why it rallied. Everybody took a break during lunch and they come back and boom, there it goes again. So anyway, let's back out where we can see this a little better. We're going to go way out here. Somebody made some comment about zoom in or whatever. Sure, you can call it zoom in or zoom out. When I do it, I'm backing out here. I'm not zooming in. I guess you could say I'm zooming in, but I'm backing out to or I'm backing in. But yeah, I guess you would say I'm zooming in. Backing out would be this way, I guess. So yeah, but I mean, I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. So hopefully nobody's confused when I said I was backing out here. I'm going to a bigger picture. But anyway, early on, we had the, let me just go ahead and color this one different, just so it's easier to see. Early on, we had the cayenne colored blue, or whatever you want to call that, light blue. And it's in play. That's the only thing you had at that point. We're in a downtrend. We got a little overshoot. We continued lower, and then we correct here. And you see this same thing happen on the bigger channel later. The fact that you haven't touched this low yet, and you're getting back to the high of the trend line yet. I mean, notice we just came off the low here. We actually had an overshoot. So that explains why we couldn't get back down. The market's still weak, but prices want to go back to the trend line. And so you don't really need to adjust your trend line here. It's just playing out. You got an overshoot. Usually you'll get a break, and you get a break and a move to a new low, and then it corrects. But that's just, then we just correct in the bigger downtrend. So let me back out and show you this one more time before we get started. Yes, I'm backing out this time. I'm zooming out here. So you can see the original channel versus the, and at this point, this would have been up here. That's how we would have been looking at that. So let's just leave it there for now. And let's zoom out here. But you can see we're working down on that channel. You get an overshoot. You come up here, you get a break, and you get a second entry short. And you got that little channel close outside new high. That's a second entry short. Very bearish bar. A little ways away from the EMA. I like that one. If you catch that one trade, that move's good for 10 points easy. 10 or 12 points. That may be all you need for the day, and you're done by 8:20 and you go home. I mean, I love these kind of days. Generally on these kind of days, even though I have a daily goal I meet, when you get a real strong downtrend like this, I may continue to trade it for a while, because you just don't get a lot of days like this. So when you do get one, you want to take advantage of it. So most days I reach my target, I'm done, and I'm going to quit, and I'm going to do other things. Lately it's more work, but when the weather gets right, and on Fridays I'll go play golf or whatever. So go fishing, or just go spend time with my family for a change. So anyway, we run down here, we make a new low, and we correct. And you could have considered going long here, because at this point, this is not looking like a crazy downtrend. It looks like we might even have possibly a range. Of course, you want to draw this blue channel, this trend line across here, and just see what happens. And it does fit off the lows, so it makes you think, hey, we might have something going on here. I actually had this much higher, like so. Oops, not like that, like this. And so this looks valid, the blue one, even though, and it is valid. But you don't really get a good reversal here. It's just a first entry short and a little congestive. So even though you know we're probably going higher, you just don't get an entry. And it comes up here and it turns down. Now, because we're still in this channel, you don't want to go short yet. You do get a lower high here, not a very good signal bar. Then you're just going sideways. But if you're just patient, a few minutes later you get a first entry, second entry. Now this is a crazy second entry. It breaks higher, turns down. On a bar that big that breaks higher, you're going to probably trap a lot of people. So you may want to take that trade. I marked it green because that bar by itself is, what, 17 ticks. Of course, if you played it on the engulfing bar and put your sell stop one tick below the green bar, then you probably cut off several of those ticks, but still pretty fairly large investment going right into support there. But notice we push lower. You make a first entry long, a second entry long, and again this breaks higher and turns down. This looks a little congestive, but this is a double test off that EMA. Everything's saying down still. Um, I like that trade because it is congestive looking and into some support there. I marked it green. The better trade was to take the lower high off of that, and you can see how bearish that is. And again, this is a little ways away from the EMA, but at this point, you're thinking measured move like this right here, and you got a long way to go down there to that. Of course, this measured move never even checked up. It just, it was gone. But that's what you're thinking right now. So that's why you're playing this. And again, if you catch this, you catch a runner, you ride this all the way down. Of course, I wouldn't hang on through the support here. I would exit. And again, there's some possibility of going long right here. I wouldn't take it. There's actually a reversal right here. But we haven't reached the lows yet. And this is that pattern that I was telling you about here, where you didn't touch the lows right in here and you went higher. And you're not touching the lows. And the reason is we haven't got to the low side of the channel yet. Even though it tries to reverse, it just traps a lot of longs. And then look how quickly, that's why it just drops straight off the page and then kind of flattens out, because they all realize, hey, I'm way too early. I got to get out of this thing. I better take my profits or get out before, with as little a loss as I can get, depending on when a lot of them probably entered right here, not knowing any better. So again, there's some possible longs. There's long here, a reversal here, but I'm not going to take any of those. And it's quickly, we're turning lower. And this is a trap. It breaks higher and turns down. Long way away from the EMA. You wouldn't want to go long there that far away from the EMA, even if you had a good setup. So we're probably at least coming back to the EMA, and we're probably still headed down here to meet this target. And so you might go short there. It's not a great setup, but you might go short there. And then we just start chopping lower. You can't go short right into that support, so you kind of got to wait. And then finally you get a second entry short right off that key entry point. You don't quite have a measured move yet, but notice that low, first entry, second entry. I like going real small bar for today. That's 6 ticks, that's nothing. That's very low risk when we're probably going to make a new low here and probably go to this trend channel line. And off it goes. You probably don't get a runner on that one, but it's a quick, easy scalp. And we've just been too far away from the EMA for too long now. And quickly you see we get 2 legs back. And notice you got a new swing low. It's lower than that one. So you get a first entry, second entry, and that's a big bearish bar. You probably couldn't get in this trade. You might have to use a limit order or something, but it never, notice how it gaps across there. It doesn't overlap. Let me back out or zoom out here. And notice how it closes on its low and then opens on its high and just keeps going, never checks up. If you could get in that trade, that's a great trade because it's an easy scalp, an easy runner. We come back right here and you basically get your break and 2 legs to a new low, and guess what? Now we're reversing. And at this point, you're probably thinking overshoot. That's what I'm thinking. But when we get back up here and turn down directly right off the trend line and get to a second entry short, notice this channel working up. You get a break, 2 legs up, second entry short, nice bearish bar, go short. And again, you got another runner going here. You got a lower high here, but not really a good place to enter. But then you get the failed second entry long that breaks higher and turns down. Just go short 1 tick below that. You could wait here and go short, but it's a little more risky. I like entering on the break lower there below this bar, on the engulfing bar. And boom, off it's going. There's a failed second entry long here, but that's too congestive looking. Then there's it's still congestive. And you just don't get another chance to enter this one. But let's back out just a second here before. Let me show you this. So at this point, you could just go to the yellow channel. As I showed you though, there's really a bigger channel in play, so let's just go ahead and move it down here to where it goes. I believe it's right off those 2 swings right there. like so. But you don't have to be able to find that. As long as you can find this yellow, first it's this channel. It's a spike in a channel. And then get your two swings here, and then it's quickly obvious there's a yellow channel. As long as you find that this blue, really as long as you found this channel, this one, and this one, and this one, that's all you really need. Of course, it helps to have the bigger one in some cases, but really all you needed was, let me just color this one differently since it's just to kind of distinguish them, because it kind of gets confusing there. I know, looking at all the different colors, but you got the green one. It's a spike in channel, break new low, then back over to here, and then we start the yellow one. So, and we've already talked about these two trades. I don't think we've talked. This one continues on down. We bounce. You get your first close outside. Notice you get a first entry, and you get a second entry here. Just go short. We might have already talked about that one. I can't remember. And same thing. Notice we've already touched the low. We're trying to get back to the high, but this market's so weak. This is just a good clue that the market's still really weak, because of course you may not have the yellow one just yet. So you got to wait till we actually make this one. But once you draw that and drag it down, you know, if it gets confirmed next time, which it does right here, then it's pretty obvious what's going on. We couldn't get back down here, and the market's really weak. So, and so there's you a great second entry. Notice the new low, first entry, second entry. Let me back out here. And you can clearly see that. This is actually a failed second entry long right here. And it'd be easy to get trapped there. Notice the new high, first entry, second entry. But just be patient, because we really don't have this confirmed yet. This looks pretty good here, but the fact that we got outside of it right there, we could make another we're overdue to come back to that EMA, and we may test this trend line again to see if it's invalid or not, which prices do. But that's a great second entry short. Lower high right here, no signal bar. Failed second entry long here. You've already got two legs, a little bit too late, even though they're not measured legs. As you can see, we actually get two pretty close to measured legs there. And you can actually just pull that over. But there's your two measured legs, and then we bounce. And instead of rallying, we just go sideways. And you might even enter this one. I didn't mark it. I should at least mark that one green. Let me explain that one. Early on, it looked like this was the channel. And so that's a failed breakout. In the end, I believe it was a two-tiered channel. But at this point, that's all you got to go on. So that's a failed breakout. And this turns down right off the key entry point, a big bearish bar. So you might go short there. But there's a lower high here. Not a good setup. The signal bar never really triggers, too bullish. Then you get a failed second entry long right off the key entry point, big bearish bar. Go short right there. It takes it a minute to drop on down, but that's another easy scalp. You don't get a runner on that one, unfortunately. It comes back, and really you have a double test here, but that's a little bit bullish right there. You can see that. That just a little. There's a lot of momentum right there real quickly. I think what it is, a lot of people got short here. When it bounced, they got scared and they got out. Just trying to getting a big hit. And then it turns around and goes right where they thought it was going to go. And that's what's so frustrating about it sometimes when that happens to you. But you got to follow the rules and be patient. But you might go short right there. It's a triple test. I'm not going to mark it. I just think there's better trades. You get a lower high here. There's actually a failed second entry long here, but you got to go short right into that. You actually could go short here, but there's a chance it pulls back real quick and then goes lower. And I just think this was the only opportunity. And I think it's a little aggressive. It's a little small bar there, so it breaks higher. When it turns down, just go short right below it. I don't like it because it's kind of in the middle of the range. But this is a very bearish day, and the overall trend line is probably going to take precedence over everything else. And this is where if you saw the bigger, you probably wouldn't have the bigger channel yet, the blue one, but you can see it turns down right off the midline right there. So you got the midline, the resistance of the range, all of that, the overall downward bias, a lot of reasons. But of course, you probably wouldn't have had this midline yet. So all you really got to go on there is a triple test. And I'm not going to mark that one. So we drop on down. Now it's too late. You don't want to be trying to enter down here because about the time you do, this is what happens. And then it goes right where you thought it was going to go. So just be patient. Notice you got a new low, first entry, second entry. And unfortunately, this one's too bullish, so you got to use this, but I wouldn't be afraid to go short right there. I mean, there's a little bit of a range congestion here. So it's a failed breakout. It's a second entry short. It's a hugely bearish bar. There's a lot of reasons to like that trade. And again, if you just catch this one trade right before lunch, I mean, this is, you enter this probably at 34 or so, and it runs all the way down to 20. That's 14 points. Quick, fast, I mean, in just a couple of minutes. These are the kind of days you want to try to get some runners. And then here's where the big two-legged correction comes. And there's no reason to even think long before this trend line. And then after that, I just don't see anything in there that would make me want to go long, especially now. You finally got a good signal bar, but now you got a overshoot and two legs down. There's a possible channel there. Of course, you got this move down. In the end, I think there's a separate channel here, and that's the way I played it. And notice you get a first entry and then a second entry long right here. Technically, the second entry is right here, but it doesn't fail till it breaks below that bar. So, and it's right off that key entry point, confirms. I like going short there. Unfortunately, it's just a quick scalp and nothing more, but we're still headed back to this trend line most likely. And even if you saw the bigger one, let me back out. You still know we had the overshoot, but you end up with these two legs of correction, and then we go lower again. So again, I don't see any reason to be thinking long. Now that's a pretty good reversal pattern right there. Notice the low, first entry, second entry. It pulls back, kisses off that EMA, and there was a failed break out of this range here. If I'm going to go long, that's the one I'm going to take right there. Because we're still a long way away from that EMA. And you've had one big leg up and you've had a two-legged correction. Not sure if you can see those two legs there. There's leg one and there's leg two. And that's a perfect two-legged correction with two legs in the middle. So you're probably going to make another leg up. And then the actions, we're going to probably try it. And if we get a close outside this blue, we're probably going lower again. And that's what happens. You definitely don't want to be going long up here. This would have been your only opportunity to get long. And we get a close outside. A few of them, you actually get a close outside. That one's questionable for sure here. And then a couple legs up. And then a lower high here off a double top. And this actually breaks higher and turns down. Just go short there. And you could actually look at this as a failed second entry long. I didn't mark it, but you could actually enter right there too. And then off to the races it goes again. Another runner. And we're just going lower. And then we actually start this new trend line right here. You get a break. I mean, it gets confirmed pretty quickly. So this looks like a spike in channel. And early on, I was just playing the tight channel, but once it went on through, then to come to find out it's a two-tiered channel. It gets well into 2 o'clock before that happens, so it doesn't really matter. So at this point, I was playing this like so. And you got a new high right here. So first entry, second entry. So when it broke lower right there, this actually should have been here. And you could have taken this as a lower high. So two nice trades right into the 2 o'clock. And if you catch either one of those, you get a runner again. And this one might have taken your runner on this trade, but if you were in on this one, I don't think it does. No, you would have been safe on that other one, but you wouldn't have probably survived this one. Actually, your entry on this one probably should have been one tick below here. So there's still a chance you might have survived this one too, depending on how you entered it with your limit order, what kind of feel you got. And that takes you into 2 o'clock, but you could have ridden this. If you caught a runner on one of these, you could have ridden this. I'd just keep riding. Of course, you got to adjust your trend line later as it turns out to be much bigger. And that's the way it was right there. I think that's the channel. You can see the midline, the EMA, and then you get an overshoot, which leads to a break. And then it starts trying to make a new low. Still trying to make a new low there. And really the bigger blue channel actually comes back into play right here. So all that's after 2 o'clock, so we're not even going to look at that. But yeah, crazy day. I mean, this is almost a 30-minute video, and I could probably still keep going and talking about more trades. But again, there's going to be a lot of trades, and so if you saw something that I didn't mark, doesn't mean that you necessarily took a horrible trade. But I mean, if you're not sure, if you want to post it on the forum, do so. If you want to send me a I really don't want people sending me a lot of emails because I'll get 100 emails if I say that. So it's not that I don't want to read your emails or answer them. It's just got to be where I just can't keep up with it. There's not enough hours in the day, and that's the reason we created the forum, to make it a little bit easier on me and to get help from other traders that can help. We've got a couple of moderators in there that are really good traders that help as well. So you can get a lot of help in our forum if you want to come join it. It's optional. You can sit here and just study the free chart lessons every day, and you could probably learn this. But if you really want to get into the depth of price action and learning and studying the other stuff, go look around on the website. There's a lot of, not everything is pay either. There's a lot of free stuff there that is helpful. So a lot of people just don't even take the time to look around there. They go there and they start asking, where's this or where that? Just dig around a few minutes and you'd be surprised what you'll find there. Lots of free good trading information. So, and again, the forum, you can get a lot of help there for $10 a month, basically peanuts. So you probably spend more of that on a hamburger at lunch a day a week. So if you're really truly interested in learning, I think it's worth the $10 a month. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you had a good week. No chart lessons on Friday, so I won't be back till Monday. I'm done for today. This is Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.